A few years back, I was drifting between gigs, doing a little security work here and there. I'd worked clubs, hotel events, even a couple of underground poker nights. Nothing shocked me anymore. I figured I'd seen it all. That summer, I was crashing with a buddy in a lakeside town. Quiet place, mostly retirees and fishermen. One night he mentioned this old lodge outside of town. Used to be a summer retreat for the rich decades ago. Shut down after a fire gutted part of the east wing. Apparently some folks had died, staff, maybe a guest or two. It had been abandoned ever since, but someone had bought the place and was trying to convert it into an art and music venue. Weird vibe, but I was broke and they needed help setting up for their first open mic night, just a one-off gig. I said sure. When I got there, the sun was just going down. The lodge was huge, half buried in the forest like it was trying to hide. My contact, a guy named Elian, met me outside. He had this nervous energy, like he'd been chain-smoking for days. He kept glancing at the upper windows like someone was watching. "You'll hear stuff," he said as we walked in. "Just ignore it." I laughed, thought he was messing with me. Inside, the lodge was mostly intact, dusty, but solid. The ballroom was where the event would be, and I started helping set up chairs, lights, cables. No big deal, but the whole time it felt like someone was walking just out of sight. You know that pressure, like eyes in the back of your skull? At one point I went to the storage room to grab extension cords. Door was stuck, so I kicked it open. Inside it was cold, like winter cold, and there was this smell, wet earth and metal. I found the cords, turned to leave, and the door was just shut, silent. I didn't even hear it close. I had to shove it open again. Nobody was in the hallway. The lion wouldn't go into certain rooms. Said they felt wrong. He refused to go upstairs at all. I shrugged it off, figured he'd spent too much time alone in this place. The night itself was uneventful. A few acts showed up. Acoustic guitars, some poetry, even a guy doing performance painting. Not many guests, maybe 20 or 30. The kind of night that blurs into all the others. Around midnight, everyone left. Elian and I locked up. I offered to do one last sweep before we killed the lights. He hesitated, then handed me the keys. "Don't go into room 209, he said, dead serious. I laughed. "Why not?" He didn't answer, just waited outside while I did the walkthrough. I didn't plan to check 209, but I passed it on the way down the hall. The door was slightly ajar, just a sliver. I told myself I wouldn't look. I looked. It was empty, mostly. Dust-covered floor, wallpaper peeling. But there was something about the way the room waited, like it knew I was coming. And just as I turned to leave, I caught my reflection in the cracked wall mirror. Except it wasn't right. I moved. It didn't. It just stood there watching me. Same face, same clothes, but the eyes were wrong, too dark, too still. I slammed the door and ran down the hall without looking back. When I got outside, Elian was pacing. I didn't say a word, just handed him the keys and walked to my car. As I pulled away, I glanced in the rearview mirror. One last look at the lodge, framed in the moonlight. There was someone in the upstairs window, a figure, motionless, watching. I didn't stop, didn't slow down. I drove until the trees were behind me and the sky started to lighten. Never told anyone the full story. And I never worked another event for Elian. I don't even know if the lodge is still standing. But sometimes, when I pass by a mirror and catch myself at the wrong angle, I remember that version of me. The one that didn't move, the one still waiting in room 209.